I decided to choose the suburbs of Toronto because of its rich history and its modern economic growth and residential boom. The advantage the land possesses is that it has great tourist locations with Lake Ontario as its prominent destination. One disadvantage of the land is the rapid dwindling space for real estate cramping houses up together. This is mainly seen near the metropolitan center where houses are very close from each other. So if we move to Toronto, as you can see, many of the houses are very crammed together, creating an uncomfortable living space. Since Toronto and the rest of the GTA situates on the coast of Lake Ontario, there will be compromises. Geological climates and terrain results in erosion along the coast in some areas. So, as an example, the beach in Scarborough shows a very good example of erosion, where sands slowly gets eroded away by the waves splashing onto it, and eventually reaches the houses, creating a hazardous environment. Indigenous lands have to be in consideration so that we can recognize the inequality faced in the past and making sure those lands don't get touched, which also means making compromises to projects that might involve the indigenous lands. A key challenge facing urban growth is the chain reaction of massive industrial growth. As you can see in downtown Toronto, the entire waterfront has been redeveloped to residential areas with tall skyscrapers on the rise. This can cause massive pollutions to the environment and cause harm to the birds that are navigating through the area. And it's not just Toronto. Because I'm also talking about suburban Toronto, for example, this area, before it was just a flat land with nature and trees and parks. And ever since a few years ago, around 2014, residential boom caused a massive chain reaction. And as you can see, now there is lots of skyscrapers on the rise to also capture, because of the great view of Lake Ontario. To many companies, this is also a very good cash grab. And another problem is the skyrocketing price of those real estates. More and more residential buildings are only made to benefit the upper class people instead of the working class and people who struggle in finance. To make the city more functional, more green buildings need to be added to reduce emissions, and highways need to be expanded to have less traffic to also reduce emissions. High rise skyscrapers or residential buildings also need to focus on bird navigation routes to avoid incidents of birds crashing into structures. More parks and commercial zones are needed to reduce citizen stress, especially nowadays during a pandemic.